Hey beauties, good evening to you. So, boy, I tell you, me and the news. Wow. Don Anderson did a poll, I think somewhere in August and September, of 1,000 people. That's a good cohort to do, the polling on. A good representation. That's a fair representation. Let us put it that way, fair. And of the cohort, 45% said that the office of the Prime Minister, note the word office of the Prime Minister, it means that whichever party is in, whoever is a Prime Minister, it is talking about the post, not necessarily the specific individual who is the Prime Minister for the moment. So the office of the Prime Minister is said to have too much power. 45% of the respondents said yes, 37% of the respondents said no, and 18% said they're not sure. What do I say? I was not a part of the polling. I'm not sure. Sometimes you hear I'm not talking about what the Prime Minister's job description is and what they're allowed, what power is given to them and so on. It's not so much from that. But I realize for the last 3 years, there is a sort of dictatorial, I don't want to say Adolf Hitler, maybe that's too strong of a word, but there is a sort of autocracy, that seem to be slowly creeping in for the last 3 years. That makes me wonder, at what point is there a capping on the power that is given to the Prime Minister and his office? And I'm talking in light of with the COVID, I can understand you might talking about protecting people, so-called, by shielding the vaxxers and the non-vaxxers, and saying that we were locked down for weeks and days and whatnot. And it was just awful. I found time to enjoy myself. I found time to just, deepen my relationship with God and in God. And, but I didn't like that, where at any given moment, your so-called liberty and freedom is taken. Our liberty and our freedom is not free for all, meaning you can't just say, yeah, I have freedom, I have liberty, I can go and kill somebody. I can go and kill somebody who did me wrong. I can kill somebody because I feel like doing that. Obviously, I'm not talking something like that, but I'm talking about freedom and liberty where you feel, and now a mother is a sort of a draconian father now comes around and says you cannot move, you do this or you do that, or you'll be fined, you'll be sanctioned, you'll be imprisoned. And remember, some people were caught breaking the what you had called it again, under the disaster risk management, and nothing happened to them. Although for me, I know some people hold one particular individual, want to hold him accountable and liable for from now till eternity, because Jamaican people don't forget. I don't think so. But what goes for the goose doesn't go for the gander in this country, because some people were able to break it without being sanctioned, without anything happening to them. And I'm thinking also about the public sector workers. They're given 20%. One lady says she got 17% increase, yet some people got 100%, 200%, 300%. Recently, they tried to move a motion for the senators to get, when you work out the percentages, is over 150%. And people have been crying, like the voices go unheard. They skip over the voices of the ordinary public sector workers, and you jump and they say, I'm going to do this. It's like doing as I feel, doing as I please. If I feel like giving you guys more than 20%, maybe. It's like the Pharisees. That is why Jesus said, don't even watch them when they say them twist up them face and pray from AM to PM sort of a situation. It means nothing. It bounds and it's going nowhere. Their mouths seem close to me. They sound good with their words, but their hearts are like sepulchre. And they brag about the tithe and the offering that they throw. Yes, it may seem like a lot, but they wait until they deal with their business first. And it's almost like they wanted to give the what left to God, a Cain mentality. So I'm juxtaposing that situation to our present modern day 21st century. So, the Pharisees, when they feel like doing something for the public sector workers, then we do it. Too much power is given to you guys, to the office of the Prime Minister. Too much power is given. So I'm joining with that 45%, almost 50% of the respondents, and that's a large percentage. That's a large percentage. It tells a story. I can understand the 18%. I can, and maybe the 18%, just off the bat, I'm thinking the age group is probably fairly young. Probably fairly young. Or some people who are just completely out of touch. If they're older, they're out of touch with what is going on with Jamaica. They don't feel it yet. They're not a proper adult to feel the pangs of poor governance, to feel the pangs of corrupt politics, to feel it in its realness. So I join in with that 45%. I agree. There's too much power. So what it means, my beautiful Jamaican people, is not a matter. You have to be careful of swapping the black dog for the monkey. Not calling anybody black dog, not calling, it's just a saying that we use here in Jamaica for you to understand. In other words, I am not going to be lauding and praising, oh, get rid of this one, get rid of the green to put in the orange. You understand? Because the orange might end up being sour. Just like the green lime. Too sour something for you. You understand me? Send you to the bathroom immediately before you say who, boo, so, and moo. So I'm not quick on that because everybody sounds good when they're out in the wilderness. You know, it's like the man who said, Lord, I promise you, just get me this and get me that. Do this for me, Daddy Jesus. And I promise you, I'll do that when they get there. They remember the PR for the promise. They don't even remember the 10 virgins, the 10 lepers, sorry. One, they get one. 10% came back. 10% of the, you understand, came back. Not give us a 20%. The man heal you. The man healed you. And there was one come back and say thank you. My gosh. One. So I'm simply saying, my Jamaican people, think carefully about the respondents. That's why they make sure they say to use the office of the Prime Minister, not necessarily who is there. Because there are certain powers that are given, when you're in governance, although they try to override it in many instances. However, it is the office, and people talk great when they're out in the wilderness. Because we see what we see now. I'm not saying that if the other political side comes in, it would be similar or worse. It can be better. I would just love to see, let me not even digress. Let me just sort of close with this. With, how do I call it? Like an epilogue. But with all of that being said, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I would love to see, I pray that there is a term at least where Jamaicans are happy, they're doing well financially, they're doing well socially, they're doing well mentally, they're doing well physically. That you don't see so many struggling people in a country like this. I'd just love to see, even if we even can say, for example, when is the next election? Let's say between 2025 and 2030. Let us say that, because I don't know what to say is happening right now. No matter how I see people, vloggers, people beg and plead. This is from Betty and Blaine days, Betty and Blaine, many respected that woman. I used to listen to her and follow her. She used to beg and plead for better in this country and how to help her children, and nobody took her on. Because, media wasn't so prevalent and popular, if you understand what I mean, with TikTok, with this, with that, with the other. I join in with the 45%. I'm afraid with when in a democratic country, it's almost like it's dictatorial democracy, like autocratic democracy. You wonder the two, they're polarized supposedly, but somehow they seem to be joining hands and hearts. Too much power I have. The people are still suffering in this country. The people are still suffering. The roads is suffering. The buildings are suffering. Everything, everyone is suffering, generally speaking. Too much power. It needs to be pulled back. Guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this.